There are often unsaid and unwritten rules on gender roles in the society, and it can range from very small institutions like the family to even larger ones like your schools and even your workplace. But we are in an age of a generation that is upturning and questioning these societal standards. I am Nonso Agu, and I welcome you to another beautiful episode on Catholic Faith Forum. And today we'll be discussing, I will not tell you the topic. When we come back, we'll know the topic and know our guests. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. This is Catholic Faith Forum. I am Nonso Agu, and today we'll be discussing gender inclusion, a waste of time or a norm. And today I have with me Sonnia Agu. She's an ambassador of ECOWAS for women and youths. Sonnia, you're welcome. I know there are a lot of other things about you that people out there want to know. So I also know you run an NGO called GFest. And when I saw a list of things that you guys do, like education, employment and all that, one thing caught my eye, and it was gender equality. And that is the essence of today's episode. You're welcome, Sonnia.
Thank you very much.
So tell us a little about yourself. Like more, not even little, more about yourself.
Oh, okay. Just like you rightly mentioned, my name is Sonnia Agu. I am the CEO, founder of the Sapio Club and GFirst International Foundation. I'm a social entrepreneur.
Okay.
A sapiosexual as well. Yeah.
Some people might not know the meaning of that. So
of the word sapiosexual.
Yes.
Okay, so sapiosexuals are people who like intelligence in others. So you're sapiosexual if or when you meet a person, and what attracts you to them is their level of intelligence.
Okay, now we're talking about gender inclusion. What is your take on gender inclusion? What is gender inclusion to you?
I like to call it gender mainstreaming.
Okay.
Yeah, it's also the same thing.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just not as how will I put it? So there's gender equality. Gender inclusion goes a step further as to gender equality. So we're not just fighting for rights between the male and the female, sexes. We're looking at opportunities. We're looking at roles, positions, and places that that would normally fit a human being, as opposed to this is a man's job or this is a woman's job.
So do you think it's the same as gender equality? I know you said no, but
yeah, it's not. It's not the same. It's actually it's a step further. To gender equality. Yeah.
So do you ever, I know that we're in this age and time where people are always, feminist this, feminist that. Yeah. Do you think that we'll get to that point in time where we say, okay, men and women are actually equal? Do you believe that?
Yes, I do believe that. As a matter of fact, I like to call, like if you followed me on social media, there's something that I posted in 2016, and this is a few years, and I still say it would still happen. So the new Africa, to me and to every other person who has seen the light, Africa would be a place where you term heaven on earth, because eventually in Africa, men and women would live equally as to how they live abroad or in Africa. In Africa, you'd say that it's a man's world.
Okay.
Abroad, you'd say it's a woman's world. But the new Africa would be a place where men and women are living equally, are happy, are able to just take up roles based on our capability, as opposed to what is being assigned to us
based on gender.
Yeah.
Okay. I really like the fact that you brought in culture here, because I think that's the first, the first hurdle we need to pass before we get to that point. And I really like the fact that you mentioned it. Thank you so much. Don't go anywhere. When we come back, we'll talk more on this topic. Stay with us. Welcome back. This is Catholic Faith Forum, and I am Nonso, and we're discussing gender inclusion. And I'm here with Sonnia. So we're talking about gender roles. So and we talked about culture. So what do you think culture has done to give people certain roles in the society based on gender?
Just like I rightly said earlier on, if you live abroad or in the Western world rather, women are being considered as superior. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so if you go to America or even England, women are the ones who rule. If something happens between the both of us and you're a man, if I have every right to just say you hit me or you try to do something to me, they would first listen to me. Whereas in Africa, that we both know, you know, regardless of the scar or the bruise on my face, I'm very certain that there are women who have gone to the police station and they told them, you should have listened to your husband.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's me trying to explain that in a very lay term. Culture automatically puts a restraint or sort of makes it seem as if it's a man's world here in Africa, or he's a guy, he's a man, allow him do that. But abroad, it's the direct opposite. It's a woman's world. If you're a woman and they give birth to you in the abroad or the Western world, you're more likely to feel like it's your world.
So when you mean culture, I know when a lot of people say culture, 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 but they don't know that it's actually the people. I've met women who would tell you that, oh, as a woman, you shouldn't do this. Yeah. What's the implication of this to young girls that are growing up today?
It's funny that you ask this question. The implication is that it would just be a continuous cycle.
Cycle, yes.
Yeah, an unproductive, unprogressive cycle. There's a story about some frogs who there was like an interview for 10 frogs. Some of them were already, about 2 frogs just sat in a bowl, sort of, you know, and what happened was every time a new frog came in, the fact that he just saw 2 frogs sitting on a bowl, he just sat down with them. There was a ladder there. Do you get what I mean? There was a ladder. You could easily just crawl out if you wanted to. But nobody crawled out because the 2 frogs who they started this analogy with were just sitting there. So that's the implication. That's what would normally just happen. When other women come into our society, our world, our culture, is more or less, and if they try to speak up or speak out,
yes.
What I didn't also mention with the frog thing is when one frog decided to climb up, because now they had turned on the heat and it was a bit hot. When one frog was trying to climb up, the other frogs just kept pulling that frog down. So that's exactly what will happen. When a woman or a young girl thinks or tries to rebel against the fact that she doesn't like how things are being projected or how they've told her to act or be, then there's likely to be that pull down syndrome.
Okay. So now let's talk about you mentioned that you posted something and you said you believe in the new Africa.
Yes.
So do you think that this is something that is going to be a norm eventually, or it's a waste of time? I know there are people online who have tried to raise issues like this, and then they get pulled down with different comments. I can't even ask you what people said when you put that up. But then I just want to really know, do you think it's going to be a norm eventually, or is it just a waste of time?
You know, like I said to you, it's even something that I always say. I think I even said it today already. Yeah, I've learned to not force people to accept a thing.
Okay.
You'll catch up eventually. So I use Noah as an example. When he was building the ark, not everybody listened to him.
Exactly.
Eventually, people wish that they listened to him. So that's what's going to happen eventually. Eventually, it's only a given. When you see everybody around you gravitating towards the same thing. And if it's God's will, he will obviously make a way. So.
Okay, now let's talk about stereotypes, because I know in this topic, there are a lot of layers. And one is gender stereotypes. We believe some things about this gender and all that. What are some cases of gender stereotypes that you know of?
Interesting. I, for once, can never be a priest.
True that.
So things like that. I don't know if I can tap wine. Maybe not.
Tap wine.
Yeah,
you can try it too.
Exactly. It's not like anybody will stop me.
I like the fact that you're mentioning things that puts ladies out there to actually want to do things. Because most time when you talk about stereotype, people say, "Oh, can men come and cook?" Men cook. Some cook.
Men cook. My dad cooks.
Yeah, but not every home. Like I said in my intro, I said sometimes it's from the institutions as basic as the family. You see that in a home, your mom would just tell the daughters to go and cook, and the guys are there maybe playing game or watching TV or doing something. True. So those are the little things I am talking about. So you can give me more like examples.
I may not be able to relate with your words because my cousin, this my particular cousin, there are 7 guys and 1 woman and 1 female. Mm-hmm. Yeah, 2 females actually, but her elder sister moved abroad like at a very young age, so she was the only one with the 6, 7 other brothers. It was funny that Her mom would tell her to sit in the living room. She could cook, fantastic cook. She has 2 kids now. But it was funny how her mom would tell her to sit in the living room and her brothers would be the ones cooking in the kitchen.
Nice.
Yeah, and the mom would be like, I don't want you men depending on women. Like, again, thankfully, they all live abroad now. Who would be cooking for, who would have cooked for them? Do you get what I mean? Like, I mean, you would find white women to cook for you, but not that Nigerian jollof rice or that soup type of thing.
So now you've mentioned something that struck, something in me.
Yeah.
Are you then saying with your statement now that it depends, we can only overcome stereotypes with enlightenment?
Exactly.
Just like that, exactly.
No, but that's the truth though.
Okay.
But that's the truth though. So I'm sorry that I like to say stories, but I feel
no,
like
it's fine. I love it.
Yeah, I feel like that's how people can better understand what I'm saying. So I remember in school, I had this professor, he was American, and then he told us to look around the building. My school was like standard built media faculty.
What school was that?
Cyprus, Eastern Mediterranean University, my undergrad. And so he told us to look around and he was going to give us $100 if we figured out what was missing from the building. 3-story building, everything you needed for media. Best sounds, best lights. So, I mean, everybody was we all wanted the $100, obviously, but nobody sort of figured out the answer. And he was like, the answer is the place for disabled. You know, that thing that takes, it's more like a lift. I don't even know the name, but you get to understand. Yeah. So they didn't have that stair thing. You see how I don't also know the name of this stair thing for disabled people? And then he goes, when they built the school, nobody amongst the people who sat down to build the school had a direct disabled parent, sibling.
Or relative.
Yeah. If they did, one person would have said, please, let's put a place for disabled. So what that means now is that if you're disabled, you can't go to my school because they didn't put you in place. So that's the same with gender inclusion. If there are no women to tell you how a woman feels when you people are making these decisions, eventually, in a few years to come, there would be, a gap that would need to be filled by women, more women, not just one woman. But if we are 5 women, 5 men sitting down to discuss how to raise this building, I'll tell you things like, let's have a daycare. Because I know that I can have a child.
Yes.
But as a man, if they are just men, they might not think about having a daycare. So
I like the fact you're talking about inclusion. So now let's talk about how inclusion can help gender stereotypes. So how can inclusion, when you think about the other gender, help stereotypes in the society? How do you think that can happen?
Just being more open-minded, more mind. So I'm more of, like the Sapiosexual Club, our motto or our goal, our mission is to empower minds. We have conversations, we have events where we gather young people and then we speak. So right now we're about to have a conversation called Men Want to Speak and Women Want to Speak, but nobody is listening.
Okay,
I stumbled across a page on Instagram, my darling, like you won't even believe I've been shocked since the day I stumbled across that page. This page was legit telling men how to deal with women.
Really?
I'm not joking. and I kid you not, I'm very sure that most guys that we know follow that page. Because this guy saying, yeah, tell them. Yeah, so they'll say things like, you can't have just one girlfriend. You have to have 2. Just in case she messes. So things like that. I'm saying, so this is how they are building their mindset. Whereas our mindset is be a good woman, So imagine, but what I also figured out from that page is these men are also scared. They're emotional beings. They say, don't show her how you really feel. You're soft. So they don't want us to see that they are soft. Meanwhile, we don't mind. So you see, we need to. So if we can sit down together on a table without you feeling like I'm trying to take advantage of
you, yes,
and me feeling like you're trying to take advantage of me, I feel like more discussions like that, more conversations like that, more inclusion, more times where we can sit down you can be a husband and sit at home. I can be a wife and go out, or I can be a wife. I need you to just understand my pain. When you leave me at home here, it hurts me because I could also be out
doing things.
So things like that.
Thank you so much. Don't go anywhere. When we come back from the short break, we'll continue our discussion. Stay with us.
Absolutely. We should be. You know, when you look at creation, I will this time from the perspective of Christian, God created male and female. And then God gave a divine command to male and female, go, multiply, manage the earth. And when he said conquer it, actually govern it, take care of it. It's not conquering and destroying it. Govern it, take care of it. And so when we neglect that balance in nature, in whatever we do, we have a skewed society. So gender inclusivity is crucial because, yes, men see things differently, women see things differently. Mom sees things differently, dad sees things differently. But together, we make a wholesome family. And so when we don't have the voices or the talents or the perspectives all together, we are missing something very crucial. You know, the world is not possible by men alone. The world is not possible by women alone, men and women. Yes, we have different talents, we have different physical energy, but together, things are better. When we work together, we make the best of what we can.
Welcome back. This is Catholic Faith Forum, and we're discussing gender inclusion, a norm or a waste of time. And I have here with me Sonnia Agu. So as I was saying, the final question for you today, do you ever think that, or do you ever feel that gender inclusion has lost its meaning because of the uprising of the LGBTQ community?
I would first of all act dumb or play oblivious to your terms. I don't know what LGBTWHIZ means.
LGBTQ.
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I know.
I feel like, personal, people are entitled to their opinions. If that's what you feel, if you feel being a woman makes you, that's on you. You're not forcing me to be like you, right?
Okay.
I have an issue if you're forcing another person. So in terms of culture, what that means is a child comes into play and they see people who are men and are decided to be women. You know, that child would obviously automatically form their opinion from what they see. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah, I get.
So in terms of inclusion, I don't know if the both of them marry. Honestly, I feel like man or woman or anything you want to be, that's not what the bone of contention. The bone of contention is, as a woman, can I take up a man's role of responsibility? As a man, am I able to do a woman's job and be comfortable with it? That's what I see. People cook. Anybody can cook.
Yes.
Man or woman. Yeah. That's.
But what you just said now, like you said, a man's job or a woman's job. I know the main aim of gender inclusion is the fact that it's a job. So it's not, we're not saying here that, oh, this job is dedicated for a man or is dedicated for a woman. We know that, oh, it might be strenuous and more tedious, but anybody can do it. We're not saying because you're a woman, don't do it. If you feel you can do it, fine, do it. If you feel as a man, you want to do what women do, basically not. Then you can do it. Just, I mean, I don't know. Do you agree with me?
I get you. No, I do. I get you 100%. I just feel like this is just giving this whole thing extra energy. Me, personally, there are conversations I don't
engage in.
Yeah, it's just giving it extra energy. What you feel like doing, do. Just allow the rest people who are looking for real jobs or real life issues, focus on those real life issues. I would say, as a woman, so recently we launched something called Sapio Fund with Don Jazzy, and one of the things I was happy to do was pick up there was this female painter. It was quite fascinating. You know, hardly would you come by. Sorry that I'm speaking about women a lot.
No, that's what this episode
I'm
is
sorry,
for.
Because I'm a child of God. I'm not anything else other than a child of God. But yeah, so a female painter, very fascinating. Because usually you see that's a man's job. And you know, we put her up and different people just started calling her and then giving her jobs. Those are the kind of things I hope that we can achieve in our society. Like, we have real problems.
Exactly.
You have real life. People are hungry.
As in poverty is number one, actually.
People are hungry. Whatever you now choose to do with your spare time, is you and your Jesus at the end of the day. Just don't let it affect us.
Nice.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for
Thank
coming.
God,
It's like
thank
girl
God.
power.
I know, right?
Thank you so much for
Thank
being
God.
here.
Thank you for having.
Thank you so much for watching. I know you enjoyed this episode like I did. Don't go anywhere until we meet with Collins on Know Your Faith. Stay with us.
Hello guys, welcome to another exciting episode of Know Your Faith series. I'm Collins, and today I'll be sharing with you some very amazing facts about the Vatican City. Now, the Vatican City is the center of authority over the Catholic Church. As we know, that's where the Pope primarily resides, that's where he lives. And today I'll be sharing with you facts that you probably did not know about the Vatican City. So first, the Vatican City is not in Italy. They say it's at the center of Rome, but it's actually not in Italy. It's an independent state of its own with about 49 hectares. It's quite small anyway. And just about 825 people. That's the actual population of Vatican City. Of which about 50% of them don't actually live there. They are, most of them are religious, so they are assigned to various other locations. So it's quite a very small place, and it's an independent state of its own and not a part of Italy or Rome. 2, the Vatican City has a dress code, and I don't just mean like I'm not saying school uniform kind of dress code, but the kind of how do you dress to enter a holy place, basically, because of the kind of structure that the Vatican City has. People tend to mistake it for a tourist center or a place of tourism. It's really not. It's a holy place, and so should be treated as such. 3rd, it is over its centuries of work. One of the largest churches in the world, St. Peter's Basilica, was built for over 120 years, between 1506 to 1626. Cool, yeah? But it's still not the largest church in the world anyway. The largest church is the Basilica of Our Lady of Peace in Ivory Coast, Africa. Yeah. I'm guessing that also took just as long, but the one in Vatican City is still one of the longest it's still one of the structures with the longest amount of time. 4th, there is a 2,000-year-old cemetery right underneath the Basilica, and there are beliefs or rumors, I won't say beliefs anyway, that St. Peter, that was the location in which St. Peter was martyred when he was hung upside down on the cross. And there are beliefs that his bones are still, beneath that location till date. 6, the Vatican City has its own constitution, has its own laws, its own police, its own prison. Basically, think of it like a country on its own. All the things a country would have, it has. 6th is the Vatican City is a prime destination for scholars. I mean, it has one of the oldest libraries, and the library is part of the Vatican City Museum, which to an extent can be seen as some sort of, it's an interesting place to be in, so some sort of tourist attraction when you're actually there. So we have scholars from all over the world coming over to the Vatican City because we have, archives of Latin, Greeks, and a whole lot of languages in the library. The final fact is that it has an impressive art collection. I've said a lot about the art museum, and there's something you should know. The art goes on for miles, about 15 kilometers and now 9 miles. If you're familiar with geography, you can imagine how large that is. And so it has a different varieties of artworks from different artists. And so we also have a lot of people coming over from different parts of the world just to see these artworks. So these are the various facts about Vatican City. If you happen to be there, please snap a picture and then tag me. I'm the one that told you these things, And also you need to, go prepared, like I said, the dressing and everything. And there are also many sites where you can actually learn more facts so as you know how well you should prepare when visiting the Vatican City. So that's it for today, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. Please Please feel free to like and subscribe, share our content, and God would bless you as you do so. And until I come your way next time, be bold and be Catholic.
Welcome back. Thank you so much for that. Thank you, Sonnia, for being here once more.
Good, thank God. Thanks for having me.
You said thank God like a Nigerian mother.
Boys, do thank God now.
Thank you. Thank you anyway. So you can watch this episode and our other episode on our YouTube channel at Dominican Media Presents on YouTube. And also you can reach out to us on our social media platforms at CFF on TV. Also, we're hosting a conversation on our Instagram at CFF on TV on Tuesdays by 7 p.m. using the hashtag CFF Chatroom. Don't forget CFF Chatroom on Tuesday on Instagram at CFF on TV. You can also sponsor this show if you want us to keep putting out content there. Simply call the number shown on your screen or reach out to us via email with the email address opmediang@gmail.com. Till I come your way next time, keep being saints in jeans and shirts.